This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. Lawmakers will debate South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem's two pipeline construction legal fund bills starting Wednesday. The governor says one of those bills sets up a fund that focuses on pursuing lawsuits against those who help fund what she calls riot boosting. The Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe was quick to respond with concerns over the lack of tribal consultation on the bills. Lee Strubinger has more.
When asking if this implicates anyone who posts bail for an individual or who gives gas money to someone who ends up arrested, the governor's spokeswoman says the bill focuses on individuals and entities that use their wealth to support and encourage acts of violence or rioting. The email goes on to say those pursuing legal remedies would be looking for evidence the support was intended to cause such violence or rioting. Governor Noem says the bill is aimed to prevent out-of-state paid protesters from coming in and causing riots. She points to pipeline demonstrations against the Dakota Access Pipeline in North Dakota. When asked for examples of out-of-state donors, she points to a billionaire liberal philanthropist.
I'd say the most typical national offender that we see funding these types of activities would be George Soros. So those types of entities that want to come in and create disruption on a build with this infrastructure is what we're hoping to shut down.
A spokeswoman for Open Society Foundations, a George Soros-backed nonprofit, says there was no involvement in North Dakota. Laura Silber says Soros and the foundations oppose violence of any sort. She says it's odd the governor is seeking to tarnish the recent surge in citizen activism.
To suggest that somebody is paying for these people to turn out at protests and do someone's bidding, that it's paid for by Mr. Soros or anyone else, it does a grave disservice to these people who are standing up and making their voices heard, whether that's in South Dakota or anywhere else in this country.
Silber says in the past, the Open Society Foundations has funded women's health programs for Native Americans and prisoner reentry programs in South Dakota.
That was Lee Strubinger. A bill to allow students to wear eagle feathers to graduation ceremonies is making its way through the North Dakota legislature, advancing this week. Introduced by Native American lawmaker Ruth Buffalo, the bill seeks to stop schools from creating dress code policy, which may include prohibiting a student from wearing traditional Native regalia or objects of cultural significance, an eagle feather or eagle plume. The bill includes an emergency clause for 2019 graduates. Tribal leaders from across the country are taking part in 2 days of public testimony in Washington, D.C. to discuss priorities and funding needs. The House Appropriations Subcommittee on Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies is gathering testimony for 2020 funding. The subcommittee is scheduled to hear from more than 60 leaders from tribes and Native organizations. Much of Wednesday morning focused on healthcare issues. Muskogee Nation Principal Chief James Floyd recently signed the SHIELD Act to provide its tribal media with editorial independence while financing to be handled through the tribe. In November, a bill revoked press freedom protections and sought to put the media under executive branch control. It caused the resignation of the editor and outcry from journalism groups, including the Native American Journalists Association. The new law applies to the journalistic arm, but not the tribal marketing and creative division. I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced by Koahnic Broadcast Corporation with funding by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Support by the Travoy Indian Country Affordable Housing and Economic Development Conference starting April 9th in Miami, Florida. Discounted hotel rooms available through March 15th. Qualifying attendee info at travois.com/annual-conference. For Native Americans affected by domestic violence, the Strong Hearts Native Helpline offers peer-to-peer support and resources. It's safe, confidential, and toll-free at 844-7-NATIVE. Program support by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.